Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now, today I want to talk about ICP because they were actually ranked the second fastest growing chain in 2024, which obviously is huge news, especially with a chain this size. Obviously, usually with these types of things, it's usually much smaller projects that are ranked the fastest growing because they're smaller and it's easier for them to grow at a faster rate. But this was not the case this year, at least, ICP taking the number 2 spot. We are going to be taking another closer look at this so we can kind of dissect the data a little bit, talk about a little bit what this could mean, all this type of stuff. But anyway, before we go into that, I did want to take a quick look at crypto bubbles just because we can see kind of what is going on for the day. We can see AI16Z kind of leading the way up here, Helium kind of leading the way down, which does make me sad because I do really like Helium. Also, we can see Virtuals is down. Actually, I guess it's blocked by my picture, but it's down about 5.5% on the day. So a little bit more mix. We kind of were seeing AI agents just kind of going up only for the past several days. We are starting to see a little bit of a mix here. AI16Z obviously still just moving pretty fast. We can see up 155% this week and then 420% this month. So overall, a pretty strong move out of AI16Z, at least so far. We'll see kind of where that ends up topping out, all that type of stuff. We can see ICP up 0.7% on the day, 1.2% on the week, and then we have seen about 20% on the month and 24% on the year. So not the best performance, at least so far, but I mean, we have seen that ICP can move and it can move very quickly. And so we are going to be looking into a little bit of that, kind of taking a closer look of what this could mean, all this type of stuff. So anyway, looking at the chart, we could see obviously a really nice move to the upside, really strong move to the downside. Since then, we can see we've held this level. I wouldn't even say even down at this level. We've probably held kind of like this $10 range pretty well so far. We could even like probably move this up and say that like this is kind of the level, is this local top here. We've kind of held that level of support pretty well. You can see a couple wicks, even a couple candles down, here and there. But overall, we have held this $10 support range pretty well overall, which honestly I think is a pretty good thing. We can see the lows before were below 7, and now we're kind of sitting up kind of right at 10. So the fact that we are able to kind of hold a higher low, at least so far, things could always change and maybe we continue going down, a lot of that type of stuff, but at least being able to hold this higher low for now is definitely really good news and something that we want to be seeing basically in any crypto that we invest in. Obviously, higher lows is the name of the game, and so the fact that we are seeing that is definitely a good thing. We can see we are still kind of in the bottom like half of the Bollinger Bands, so a little bit more like depressed on price. I would say this is the case for most cryptos so far. We are off like the very bottom. We're probably in like the 25th percentile if I had to kind of take a quick guess. But overall, the things looking pretty good, not looking too oversold, definitely on like the oversold side of things. But obviously, we did spend quite a while where we were always essentially pushing the top end of the Bollinger Band. So nothing too crazy going on here. If you are wanting to trade ICP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, basically anything for that matter, you can feel free to use my link in the description below. I am still working with BTCC because they are providing this awesome 10% bonus on first time deposits. This is essentially guaranteed, and in addition to the extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So really good deals here if this is something that you're interested in. Also, they've been around for 13 years, so you don't really need to worry about them being like a here today, gone tomorrow type of exchange. Also 300 plus crypto futures. So if you have anything that you are looking to trade in particular, they probably have it. Also up to 500x leverage. Again, I would strongly discourage leverage up to this high. I guess, if you have some sort of strategy that works for you and makes sense, obviously, go for it. But at least in my opinion, 500x leverage, way too high. It's basically kind of like gambling at that point. And then also they have no VPN or KYC. So if that is something that is worthwhile for you or something that's interesting to you, they also have that as well. So anyway, like I said, if you are interested, just feel free to check the link in the description below and you can go on ahead and get signed up. Now, moving along, I did want to take a quick look at a couple of different things we're seeing on Twitter. The first one we could see is this one is a couple days old. It's as of December 22nd, but we can see that this is the daily network transactions. We had Solana at 68 million, Tron, Sui, BNB, Aptos, Polygon, Stellar, blah, all the way down. Now, if you're not looking ahead, you may notice that there is something strangely missing from here, especially given that this is an ICP video. And if you guessed ICP, you would be right. ICP is not at all included in here. And we know, I mean, if you're watching this video, odds are you are an ICP fan, and so you probably know this answer before I'm even going to tell you what it is. But we know that ICP has the highest throughput in the entire crypto ecosystem. Obviously, Solana is kind of the one that's closest to that, and next up, we can see obviously Solana over 10x above basically everything else in here. But there is something missing here, isn't it? And so obviously we can see that Geek Chains, obviously he's got the infinity sign, so definitely an ICP fan for sure. What we can see though is Geek Chains definitely, he helped out Marty Party here and was showing the actual reality of what's going on. Obviously this is from December 13th, so a little bit, we're kind of maybe cherry picking because it does look like we had a bit of a spike here. So we can see that, ICP is well over 10x above Solana, and then there we had near, so yeah, that was all the way down. So, not even close. If Solana is 10x above the rest, ICP is 10x above Solana, which is crazy, meaning that ICP is likely somewhere close to 100x above kind of like anything not named Solana, or at least pretty close to. Now, obviously, like I said, it does look like we are cherry picking a little bit here. The average looks like it's maybe down at this level, which appears like it's maybe the 300 to 400 million. So again, like I understand the want to like, cherry pick a little bit and show that, we're 10x above the chain that is basically 10x above everything else, but we still can't see even 300 to 400 million if that appears to like potentially be the average here. I'm still not complaining, right? I mean, we're not 10x above Solana, but we're still going to be 5-6x roughly, and so that obviously still a really good metric overall. And so even though there's a little bit of trickery going on here, the kind of intention remains the same. ICP is way up here, everything else, well, Solana's here, and then everything else is way down here. And so that obviously is a really good thing to see, and it's nice that we have people like Geek Chains going in and kind of correcting people on some of this, because this is obviously getting 78,000 views, ICP obviously missing here, and so a little bit annoying. We can see this one not getting 78,000 views, but still 5,000, which means a decent bit of people are still seeing it, which is good. I also have liked and reposted it, so if you are wanting to kind of check out this chain a little bit further, you can just go to my X account, which is linked in the description below, if you are looking to maybe add some support onto Geek Chain's post, or maybe help Marty Party understand the errors of his ways. That could also be a good thing as well. But anyway, just want to kind of point that out. And then moving along though, we can see that Dfinity did post that ICP is the second fastest growing full-time developer community, which is obviously really good news. We talked about this at the very beginning of the video. Usually with a project being this large, it's hard to become the fastest growing, just because, if you already have 1,000 devs and you need essentially to add another 1,000 devs to grow 100%, or if there's some small project that has 100 devs and they have 100 devs, they still get that same 100% growth, right? And so it can become really difficult to hit numbers like this just purely out of math, essentially, right? But what we can see is, if we look, I actually did pull up the report here. I will actually also like and repost this. We can see there is the link to the report here in this tweet from Dfinity. So again, also one thing, I'll take this as kind of an aside to say, like, you should never be clicking any links or listening to anybody in the comment section. Sometimes based on, when people comment stuff from me, I will say, hey, reach out to me on Twitter or Telegram or whatever. If I say that, I will always tell you to look in the descriptions of my video, because I do not want people getting scammed. I will never post any links. I will never give you any like handles or anything that you should be following. If you have, like, if there's anything that I want you to see, it'll probably be in the description of the video, either a particular one or all of my videos. And so just make sure you're being careful. I know, I still have a relatively small channel, so I don't think it's too big of an issue yet, but as I'm sure most of you have seen, there are more and more kind of scam comments coming around. I try to keep them cleaned up, but overall, just really make sure that you're being careful. I'll never be posting any links. I'll never be posting anything. Like, if there is something that I want you to see, I'll either talk about it in a YouTube video, post it on my Twitter account, or refer to it in a video description or something like that. Don't ever like trust anything in the comments. Obviously I have like the check mark next to my name too if I'm replying to you, so you should be able to tell that it's me, but just be very careful. So anyway, a little bit of an aside there, but as you can see, I have reposted it. So if you want to find this, go to my Twitter account and click the link from Dfinity's real Twitter account on there. You always need to be kind of very aware of that people are out trying to steal your money, so just be very careful. So anyway, I found the link from Dfinity's post. We did actually go over this here about probably 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. So if you are a consistent watcher of my channel, you may have kind of seen some of this already, but given that there are always new people kind of tuning in, I did want to just kind of do a quick overview of this and check it out. What we can see here is Electric Capital did go through and do like a 2024 developer report. We can see by full-time developers, Internet Computer was only behind EigenLayer. So EigenLayer was kind of the top on both, which I think makes sense. You know, restaking was kind of a huge innovation or like revelation for 2024. And so there's been a ton of people, I think, trying to figure out how to unlock that and make kind of the best of it. So obviously, you know, EigenLayer kind of taking the top on both, but we can see the only other one that's kind of like up here pretty consistently is Internet Computer with the number 2 and the number 4 spot, and Base with the number 6 and the number 5 spot respectively in terms of growth and then also overall developers. And so it is also important to notice here that this side is full-time developers and this is just all developers. And so what we can see here is Solana being the number 3 for overall developers, just because there's a lot of people who do kind of do Solana development, you know, very like fractionally or part-time or whatever. And so we can see that, you know, Solana doing quite well here. Aptos also doing quite well, but ICP still coming in at number 4. Like if we're to rank the average of like between just overall and full-time developers, ICP definitely going to be taking the number 2 spot, just given their rank. Base probably taking the 3rd spot from there, while Eigen, of course, retains the number 1 spot because they're number 1 in both. And so we can see, you know, kind of an interesting makeup of seeing how things are looking here. We can see stacks growing pretty well. Also, this kind of feeds into the potential narrative that I have been going over, which is like, I do think we could potentially see a pretty strong run surrounding Bitcoin liquidity specifically. Obviously, ICP's made a really strong push for that. Stacks has made a strong push for that. There's kind of a lot of like Bitcoin Solana bridging kind of being created or like being innovated on, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things in here that kind of show potentially, you know, kind of some movement in that direction for that narrative. Also, Base been doing really, really well. You know, Ethereum still definitely strong, you know, between EigenLayer and Base, things looking pretty good for them. Also, we've got Polygon coming in here as well. Sui, we can see the number 10 by growth in overall developers. So we are seeing some growth out of the Sui network as well, which is pretty good to see. As we've talked about before, you know, Sui, not a whole lot to do on chain, at least currently. And so, you know, the fact that we are seeing that growth is pretty good. But overall, you know, given that this is an ICP video, we can see that, you know, ICP very much in, I would say, second place by just kind of like the aggregate. Obviously second place by full-time developers, but if we were to, like I was saying, an aggregate, I think it looks really, really good. So anyway, I wanted to just go over that with you today, just because, you know, it's really good to see, like, we kind of saw kind of a whole gamut of what happens to ICP. Obviously, the first tweet we saw somebody maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, maybe they just saw the like gap and they're familiar with Solana and was like, oh, there's no way that there's like another chain that's doing 5 to 6x of what Solana is in terms of transactions. Maybe it was out of ignorance. You know, I always like to try and give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe it was out of ignorance and they just didn't understand, and so they left it out because they didn't know, or they were leaving it out maliciously because they, for whatever reason, don't like ICP, like a lot of people seem to not, which I guess makes a lot of sense if you're holding on to some of these bags that would be 1/100th the pace of ICP, depending on the day. So, you know, who knows about that? But then obviously we have the other side where we are seeing objectively strong metrics and data coming out from ICP, both in terms of ecosystem usage. We didn't really cover that today, but also just developer growth. I mean, right, we saw number 2 and number 4 in terms of both full-time and overall developers respectively. So tons of growth coming in on ICP. I think things looking really, really good. The future looking really, really bright for ICP. I know a lot of people voice some frustration about people kind of, you know, sleeping on ICP or, you know, kind of intentionally trying to keep it down, which could very well be the case. However, you know, sometimes when the technology is that good, it's just a little bit undeniable. And so if it does kind of turn out being that way, we can just look at it as extra time to accumulate, I guess. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe, because it really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.